Thanks for joining. In this lesson we will practice with if conditions and we will see how it works. In JavaScript, the if statement is a conditional statement used to execute a block of code if a specified condition is true. It allows you to control the flow of your program by making decisions based on certain conditions. The if statement evaluates a condition enclosed in parentheses and, if the outcome is true, executes a specific code block. This allows us to control the flow of our program based on different conditions. By using the if statement, we can define different paths for our code to flow, depending on whether a certain condition is met or not. To use the if statement, we write the keyword if, followed by a condition enclosed in parentheses. If the condition evaluates to true, the code block associated with the if statement will be executed. This code block is typically denoted by being indented or enclosed in curly braces. There are various combinations of the if statement. It can include an if block only, or it can be a combination of if and else if. Accordingly, it may contain an else block as the default condition. It can also consist of multiple if statements with separate conditions. Now let's see the code. In certain situations, it becomes necessary to carry out various actions depending on specific conditions. In such cases, we can utilize the if statement. So here we have the condition. We obtain true since the value of 17 is true. However, if I change the code to obtain false, the if statement will not be evaluated. In other words, the code will halt at the if part and not proceed any further, as the condition is false. Consequently, we will not receive any output from the console log in the current scenario. Just to remind you, if you recall from previous lessons, the false values in JavaScript are false, 0, not a number, null, undefined, and empty string. On the other hand, the remaining values in JavaScript are considered truthy values. This means that if we place any of these falsy values in parentheses, the if statement will not be executed because it evaluates to false. Therefore, instead of checking if a variable, in our case lesson, contains a specific value, the if statement can be modified to always be false. By doing so, this if block will always be skipped. So I'll provide one more example with a variable that is declared but not assigned a value, resulting in undefined. Since undefined is a falsy value, the if block will not be executed. However, if I assign a value to the example variable, it becomes true and consequently the if statement will be executed. Next, the if block may contain an optional else if block, which is evaluated in case the if statement is falsy. The logic is straightforward. If the if statement is true, we enter the if block. However, if the if statement is false, we proceed to evaluate the else if statement. This allows us to chain multiple else if conditions, and each subsequent block will be evaluated only if the previous one is false. In this way, the logic will continue to the next else if statement, and if it is also falsy, the evaluation will proceed to the next chained else if statement. Since all verifications in the current code are falsy, there will be no output. Next, let's consider a code snippet that includes an else statement. The else statement is evaluated only if all preceding if or else if conditions are false. It serves as a default value that will be executed in any case where all previous conditions are false. It's important to note that the else block doesn't have parentheses, since there is no condition to evaluate. Additionally, it's worth mentioning that curly braces can be skipped for the if statement if the logic is simple. In such cases, if we only need to output the console log, we can omit the curly braces. For the next example, I have added a variable directly into the evaluation block of the if statement to store the outcome of the evaluation. In its current state, the variable is set to false. However, if I change it to true, the value logged to the console will be true. It's essential to remember that you can use any conditions to verify whether a value is true or false. The comparison operator serves as an example of such conditions. And finally, let's consider an example with multiple if statements. Unlike if-else-if statements where only one part is executed, multiple if statements allow each statement to be evaluated regardless of the outcome. This can be useful when we need to verify different outcomes of the same equation and store these outcomes in separate variables. Using multiple if statements, we can achieve this easily. Of course, if necessary, additional else, if, or else verification can be added as well. And as always, lesson assignments. At the conclusion of each lesson, I highly encourage you to complete the assignments as they will greatly contribute to your progress in JavaScript. By consistently practicing, you will see faster results in your learning journey. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or need further assistance, feel free to comment below. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more great coding content. Stay updated with the latest videos by ringing the notification bell. Happy coding!